Next tonight, for nearly 30 years, the identity of the Riverman in Rock County has been a mystery until today. Authorities were finally able to identify the man as Carl J. Isaacs Jr. Up until now, he's been referred to either as the Riverman or John Clinton Doe more recently. The Rock County Sheriff says this has been a mystery for most of his career. It comes after the DNA Doe Project announced the case was solved in 2019, but withheld the name at the request of authorities in Rock County. And today, the sheriff publicly identified the remains as those of Isaacs, who had walked away from the Walworth County Jail in April of 1995.
Kind of sad to have to get together and discuss the untimely death of a young individual in our community, but I am glad to finally be able to bring a little resolution to the individual's identity.
And identifying him took 2 weeks of investigative genetic genealogy analysis in that case. With this new information comes even more questions. Police said the investigation moves now from identification to the cause of death.
The man who first found him back in 1995, like the rest of us, wonders how he got there and why he died. Naomi Coles reports.
A concert t-shirt, a homemade pendant of a goat head with horns. Those are the few things we know about Carl Isaacs Jr., but still nothing about why he was never reported missing.
Our investigation is going to shift gears, and now we're really looking to flesh out exactly who he was and how did he find himself in that particular location. So that's where we're really looking to the community to help provide some of those details for us.
Something I guess I won't probably forget.
The man who found Isaacs almost 30 years ago has never forgotten the case. Today, Gary Gilbank thought he'd get more answers.
What was the circumstances that led him to walk down the creek and to be in the middle of nowhere, miles from any road?
Gilbank's parents owned the property at the time. Now it's his.
It's still a story to tell. When people are out there, we have campfires down by the creek, and I still think about it, especially when I'm back. When I'm back there.
A story he won't forget. A day that started as deer hunting with his nephews.
I walked over to see what I was looking at, and there, next to this garbage bag of his belongings, was a clothed skeleton. I remember taking my gun and picking up the shirt. There was the skull, completely decomposed.
Fast forward to today. It took decades of developing tech to get here. Now, with family looped in after first giving their DNA samples in 2019, the sheriff says the investigation goes on.
They already had a pretty good indication of where things were headed based on the request for the DNA sampling.
I guess it is nice to know that there is some closure to it.
For News 3 Now, I'm Naomi Coles.
We'll continue following this case, as we know many of you will too. For more details from today's announcement, head online to channel3000.com.